ladies, hey, congratulations on your new film, Floating Carousel.
Oh, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
You know what? This is a lovely movie that you actually created for yourself, but we have to ask that obligatory question. Where the original idea came from for Floating Carousel?
Yes.
Yes. Well, after Delilah and I both kind of moved into New York in 2021, and things were just kind of opening back up, we both downloaded Hinge within a few days of each other, and our first Hinge date was with the exact same man. And that date ended up being very strangely calculated and exactly the same for each of us. And when we put those stories together, we were like, this would make a great film someday.
Yeah.
Really? But it didn't happen the same way it happened in the film, right?
Nope, did.
It did.
We actually didn't have to like imagine much because basically, yeah, no, it because it was dark. It was almost like had a horror film-esque quality by the time I was in his apartment. And there were too many eerie similarities because she had told me very little about our date. Basically, I had just gotten a voice note that, oh my God, I had the worst date with this guy. I don't even know why I like went up to his apartment. Just like very like, I don't know why this happened. And he was like really aggressive and like was so rude and like checked his work email constantly. And so I just like asked like a few questions like, oh, where was like he like she remember said like he was from Dubai and like had a nice apartment, but then like that's all I really knew. But like you were going on more dates. It wasn't like and then that day, that same week, I had my first Hinge date ever. And the date he pushed it later. He changed the location from this really nice like kind of cocktail rooftop to a cafe. When we got to the cafe, there was last call. He asked me my favorite type of wine. And then, he lives in the same building. You'd only been there for an hour. You'll go up for this glass of wine. And then by the time we were up there, I was like, he was checking his work email. He didn't have a wine opener, but was going to make this cucumber cocktail. And that's when I started texting Lucy.
She was like, I'm terrified
Yeah.
I'm on the same date with the exact same guy you were on the date with. And I was like, who? And she said his name. That's him. And it was this like a little bit of a horror element. I said, is he currently fixing you the cucumber
And
drink?
I'm like, yes. And then he emerges from the kitchen with the cucumber drink with the line, I have a thing for blondes. And I was like, I know. I didn't say I know because I was a little like tented. Like I didn't want to like set him off in some way, and then we like kind of were dissecting like, oh, why didn't I want to say something?
The fun we had with this date
yeah.
and I won't give anything away for the movie, but you'll have to see it. The third act where we get our revenge, that is all imagined. So we had fun
Yes.
rewriting the ending of that story.
I was going to say that the conclusion to the film was very comedic and chaotic in its own sense. But in the reality, did you two just simply just cut it off and just blocked him?
Yes, that's
That's
exactly
exactly
what
what we
happened.
did.
Most excellent. So in the case of for your film, so that was the genesis of it. But now you have to create a story about it. So tell us about the cast of characters that you wanted to create. I want to say you want to create sort of a New York story in this case.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
cast has 44 speaking roles, so it's a big movie, especially for an indie film. And what we wanted to that obviously came from the fact that when we were writing the script, we were like, oh my gosh, but this is how it happens in New York. You're at a WeWork, and then suddenly you see the guy you had a thing with a month ago, and you run into all these characters, and that kind of the characters became the horses on the carousel, and then New York itself was the carousel spinning people around. So we were kind of having fun. Matching and pairing people up
Yeah.
into these different partnerships
And I
throughout.
think we were also thinking of like in terms of coming up with the relationships we wanted. Like I think we knew that like the central date, the date that we knew we were going to start, like not start the film with, but have be the central focus was kind of like how dating has become like robotic and automatized and in a way sometimes like kind of scary and lives in a very gray area. And then we were just trying to think of like other relationships that like also had the gray area, but like offered different things. So like we kind of had like, like Ruby and Joey's characters were kind of like this. You like them, but you're going to lie to them because you're just kind of like keeping them, at an arm's length, but don't want to get rid of them. With Olivia and Eric, there was kind of that like age gap, whirlwind, and like what does either of them want and would they actually like work out? we were just trying to think of other relationships we knew of and like what those would offer the film
Mhm.
in the context of all the other dynamics we had at play.
Now, I'm actually amazed on how you actually pull this off because the carousel kept on moving for yourselves and for us who actually watch it. But how do you handle with so many actors in this film? I mean, usually indie projects, two or three actors is a dream project, and you just come up with dozens.
Well, first of all, our actors were so generous with their time, and a lot of them, all of them were based in New York, so they were able to just step on for a day or two, and that's when you start to get really smart about scheduling because oh, we can fit all of these scenes even though they happen in the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes of the film. We can
Yeah.
put them all on the same day back to back, so we can kind of get someone in and out. So you have to be kind of clever in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely like, and also everyone was there, like was being paid the same rate, not that, but like everyone was just getting like the ULB, UPA standard rate. And so everyone who was there because they wanted to support the film and, play the role for a day. And like, Dylan Baker only came on for one day. Jessica Hecht was like a day and a half, so there were ways that we kind of like worked around people's schedule just to have their fun. Even like Michael Cyril Creighton was 2 days.
But he has such a memorable presence in
Yeah.
the film after, which is cool.
That is pretty cool. And what about starring and directing yourselves in the film like this?
That was stressful, like more so than voyeur. But what was nice is like we loved it when we could direct each other. So like our scenes in part one and even then a lot of part two were it was so great when the other one was behind the camera and someone was on screen. It got harder when we were doing some of the ones where we were more together in part three.
Because the film is so self-referential, we thought it would be an odd experience. I know people have done it in the past, but casting people to play ourselves, and because we're actors, we figured we might as well go ahead and play these characters that are loosely inspired by our own lives. And I'm glad we did, but yes, there was sometimes disorientation being in front of the camera and behind at the same time. You're thinking in your head while you're playing the role, oh, what's next though? What's the next shot?
It's hard because it's like having acted also just on different sets when you're not the director. Like there is a bit of an ease. You can disappear more into it. But these were again so close to ourselves that it felt like a fun cathartic release to be able to do it. But that being said, like you are aware that you have to move on to the next shot. You're not just like, oh, I'm gonna like milk every moment and I'm gonna ask for another take just because I want to try something new. Like there is this awareness of like, no, we're on a schedule.
Excellent. And it seems like you two enjoy co-directing, co-writing, and co-acting with in Floating Carousel. Is there another project down the line that you two will be working together with?
Definitely.
Yeah.
We write together and we have many scripts we're writing right now. And some of those scripts we're just looking at from a writer standpoint, like we're hoping to bring on or one's options, so we're hoping to bring on other people on that. And then another one we're looking at as directors, but not necessarily actors. So we really like to just play all the roles. And I think the thing that unites that all is that with anything we direct, we will want to edit it because we always want to be able to put it together. We know the rhythm really well by the time we're getting to the edit.
Yeah.
You both have a great synergy. And let me leave with one last thought. After doing after your experience in doing a Floating Carousel, what is your final commentary about the New York dating scene and how are you faring it so far?
Yeah. Well, I think that already, like from like 2021, from like that post-pandemic era, like it's kind of progressed a little bit. Like I think more people are interested in like meeting people in person again. I definitely think that. And there's sort of like people like a friend set up more so now. But I still think it's there. I just think it's kind of like the era we're in is we always talk about just very unsettling. And there's just like a lot of existential dissatisfaction in the world that's leaking into people's romantic lives. And like if they even, what is friendship? Do people even want to be close to people right now? And I think there's just a lot of that people are like working through. And I hope that our film like just helps people like kind of relate. I think that probably a lot of people have terrible we know so many of our friends like there's so many like kind of really weird just like kind of dystopia in
Mhm.
relationships right now, especially
Mhm.
with romantic dynamics, situationships. And I hope people can kind of laugh at it, laugh and think about the like why we are where we are and what we can maybe change.
Yeah, and that it's always okay to
Yeah.
step off the carousel. Like
Yeah.
take a little break.
That's like
You
one of
can
the jokes.
always go
Yeah.
back on.
Yeah. It's like a joke that, yeah, people are scared to leave it. So they just keep going or continuing like a
Mhm.
relationship when they know it's actually not going somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, you both created a terrific movie with Floating Carousel. Everyone needs to check it out. So thank you very much, Delilah, Lucy. Thank you for speaking to us about your film.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.